Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I would like to introduce you, or should I say, give you a very brief tour of my home in Japan. So before getting started, let me just give you a very quick introduction about myself. So my name is Tanmay, I am from India and I have done my bachelor's in Japanese and did my master's in Germany. And I started working in Japan since last year's April and I'm currently living in Tokyo. 東京で日系企業、日本の会社に働きながら毎日日本語使ったり、IT の仕事をしております。To give you some context, in Japan there are mainly three different kinds of apartments, or should I say rooms, in which usually young people try to rent and live. The first type of apartment is called literally apato. So these are the kinds of studio apartments which are somewhere around 15 square meters all the way up to maybe 45 or 100 square meters, where people usually try to live. These are usually privately owned, and the landlord usually leases them to the person who is trying to live in the apartment. So the building which you are seeing right now has a very high chance of having apato and some really full-fledged homes inside as well. These apato usually in Tokyo can cost and can start from somewhere around 50,000 yen per month all the way up to 120,000 yen and more. The other type of house in which people try to rent or live is called ikkenya, or a detached house. I think by the definition of itself, I think you already know what a detached house is. Detached houses are fairly expensive compared to apato inside a high-rise building or smaller buildings. They are completely full-fledged houses which you can rent and live inside, and their rents can start from 160,000 yen and can go all the way up to 200,000 yen and more. So those right there are kind of what we call detached houses. They're usually made up of wood and they're also really good interior wise. So if I ever had money and if I was living with my family or my wife, I would probably get those kinds of houses. The last type of house where people try to live in is called a public house, or a danchi. And in this video, I'm going to introduce you to a public house room tour, a danchi itself, because I live in a danchi. So I think it's far easier to show you what danchi actually is by giving you a very small tour of the outside of a danchi. So what even is a danchi? So to give you a very small context, danchi is a large residential housing complex in Japan, usually made up of multiple apartment blocks together in one area, like you see in the video right now. So most of the public housing in Japan was made during the 1950s all the way up to 1970s, when Japan had a very, very high demand or need for cheap and affordable housing around its industrial cities at that time. As you would have already guessed, most of the buildings are made very uniformly, and around those buildings there is always mostly a lot of public spaces available, like parks or playgrounds, which can be used by the people who are living in those areas. For example, there is a very small park right there. Pretty nice if you ask me. Danchis at that time were considered to be very modern and affordable for families and people who wanted to have nice houses to live in urban cities. But currently in 2025, these houses have become quite old, and they are also not up to the standards, the current new earthquake standards. So not many people, usually young people or families, try to come and live in danchis. But there has been some really good positive change happening in the last few years. The Japanese government has started renovating or repurposing some of the rooms which are present in danchi to make them more appealing to youngsters or even some foreign residents who want to start living in Japan and want to start their career here. その新しく入居する若者の中には私です。So let me introduce you to my room in Tokyo. ようこそ。So let's start with the going to the entrance of my room. So that's the room there. That's mine. So the first thing which I would like to tell you is that the door is completely made up of metal. Once you get inside the room, you are usually in a place called the corridor, or should I say genkan. So as you can see, there is the shoe rack right there, and there's always a level between the shoe rack, should I say the entrance, and the place where I actually start my room, should I say. And usually you have to, well, take out your shoes before getting inside the room. So just reorder them. Japanese people usually reorder them like this and then enter the room, but I usually keep them straight. And then once you get inside, this is my room. Once you get inside, there's the living room, and the living room is connected to a very small bedroom, I would say, and the total area of the room is somewhere around 39 square meters. This room is actually like super big when you think about it, and the rent for it is also fairly lower compared to the overall average in Tokyo. And the reason is because the room is inside a public housing, and public housing has older earthquake standards, which kind of reduces the value of the whole apartment altogether. But I think, as you might have already guessed, this room is completely renovated, so it does not necessarily look like the 60s Japanese anime style Japanese room, but instead looks fairly modern, so I kind of really like it. Although the entrance is made up of concrete, the room and also the bedroom is made up of wood. Okay, so let me just give you a very simple tour of my kitchen. Most of the rented houses in Japan have a very small kitchen, and when I came to Japan for the very first time, I wanted to make sure that my kitchen should be super huge because I cook by myself a lot. So usually Japanese kitchens are usually modular kitchens. So the thing which you're looking at right now is also a modular kitchen. The fridge, the microwave, and the air fryer here is of course not included in the apartment. And also the gas is also not included in the apartment. You have to buy the gas, the fridge, and the microwave and every electrical appliance by yourself. However, the exhaust fan thing is definitely available or should I say attached with the apartment itself. Newer apartments have fairly modern kitchen tops, should I say, but this is the authentic danchi experience, where the whole modular kitchen is from somewhere around 2000s all the way up to 70s, so it's kind of fairly old if you ask me. So my room actually supports gas stoves, so you just connect them and you start with the gas and everything else. However, in some apartments they also have something called induction based cooktops. So if you're really okay with induction based things, you should definitely try those ones. In those cases you don't necessarily need to pay that much for gas prices. So a few minutes ago I was just drinking mango juice, and we of course have the closet where you can put things. So there's the protein and some jagariko and some other things which I usually use for my cooking. So my kitchen is actually attached to my living room, so there isn't much of a differentiation between my kitchen and my room itself. So this is my living room. As you can see, there is nothing in this room to begin with other than the table where I actually work and study. But then again, I am a minimalist nowadays, so this is the table where I usually work and study and spend most of my time. So usually whenever I'm working from home, I usually have the work laptop right there, and I use the keyboard right there and just start working as soon as possible. And usually because the whole room is made up of wood, in order to not cause too much problems to the people who are living below me, it's better to I have installed something called a carpet, on which I put the stool thing and the chair thing on it. So most of the furniture which you get in Japan, and if you're a new graduate which has started to live in Japan, it's always recommended that you buy second-hand things, because appliances and furniture is definitely expensive, but the second-hand culture and the quality of keeping things as functional as possible is really very much appreciated in Japan. And therefore, when you go to second-hand stores, you can actually get some really good deals with your appliances and furniture. For example, the table I'm using is second-hand, and also the fridge right there is also second-hand along with the microwave. Internet connection is usually, through the walls, which comes all the way from the, let's say, the modem cable or the fiber optic cable, but usually it is not necessarily included in the rent. You have to buy it yourself, but the connections are always already there inside the building. So all you need to do is call the internet service provider, and they just start your service. Most of the rooms in Japan usually end with one room and their bathroom and toilet, but my room actually has an extra bedroom, if you ask. So welcome to my bedroom. The bed right there is something which I got from IKEA, and it was something which was fairly affordable. So most of the, I think, new graduates probably go to IKEA and make their own beds. And then I also have this piano because I wanted to learn about piano, but then again my work got really intense, and currently I'm not necessarily playing the piano that much, but hopefully someday I start learning my piano again. It's made by Casio, so it's kind of pretty nice, and I will definitely recommend you to if you have some money, try investing in some musical instruments and learn it. But here's the thing in Japan, people really value silence, or should I say harmony, in a society. So whenever let's say you are using the piano or you're playing any instrument, you have to make sure that it does not cause trouble to other people's silence or harmony. So usually whenever I play the piano, I usually play it in the afternoon or in the early evening, but never at night. The bed is super comfortable. I mean, it's kind of, I think, not made up of wood, it's made up of something else, I think plywood, and it comes with the mattress. And the thing which, this quilt thing which I got with the pillow was something which I got from a Japanese website called Nitori. The outside is also very pretty. Today it's kind of overcast, and I think it's like the end of the summer, so the temperatures are dropping fairly quickly, and the weather, or should I say the feeling of the weather, is kind of pretty nice. Of course, if you're living in Japan, make sure to have a vacuum cleaner, because there is some level of dust which also accumulates in the room, so having a vacuum cleaner is definitely recommended. So that was my bedroom and my living room right here, and now let me just show you the public housing's provided bathroom and the toilet, because those are one of those things which are absolutely different from the whole room itself. So in Japanese public housing, because of the fact that it was made during the 50s and 70s, these rooms are very old, and you can actually see the remains of the 50s and 70s with the very exposed how do I say sewage pipes or water supply pipes, and also the fact that if you install a washing machine, there is no drainage pipe which is attached all the way below the washing machine. So you have to take the pipe and then connect it to another pipe and push it through inside in the bathroom. So this is my bathroom. So just let's go inside and just give you a very sweet introduction of it. So as you can see, the bathtub is very old. I would say it was probably made somewhere around in 1992, I guess. And these kinds of bathtubs do not necessarily exist in 2025, or even since 2015, if you ask me. And these are one of the hallmark things which are present in Japanese public housing, and cleaning them is fairly difficult. I don't necessarily use them a lot, but whenever I'm cleaning my hair, I use them a lot. And just like I told you, the sewage, or the drainage from the washing machine usually has to be connected to your bathroom, and then you have to keep the pipe here, and then the pipe just drains all of the water all the way in the drainage of the bathroom. The mirror and the wash basin, I don't have any comments with it. It's fairly modern, and I kind of really like it. But this is something which is so super unique with danchis or public housing. I kind of really like it. すごくこっちのところとかね、すごく魅力をね感じたりはします。掃除とか大変なものだと思うんですけれども、自分がこの体験をするだけで掃除のところは全然気にしないです。 The toilet also has like a similar story, not that extreme, but the toilet is a very traditional Western style toilet. I think most of the people who come to Japan kind of expect those super futuristic toilets with automatic buttons and stuff, but in the danchi toilet there is no button to begin with because these toilets are fairly old. However, there is a electric outlet there, so you can actually get the electric thing, that automatic thing, and then retrofit that thing to your toilet in here, and that can actually, you know, just transform the whole thing altogether. So no problems there. And yeah, that's it. So that was my room tour of my house in Japan. It has been, you know, like a pretty good experience living in this place. There are some things, caveats, which you need to understand before, if you are thinking of, you know, living in Japan, especially in, let's say, like public housing. あともう一つ最後には、日本に来る場合はね、日本の、ルールとか、文化とか、もちろん言語とかね、ちゃんと理解していただいて、その後には日本の、なんていうんだろう、日本で住むことを考えた方が良いかなと思います。もちろん日本で、部屋を借りて住むのは全然 OK だと思うんですけれども、自分の部屋にある、水道だったり電気だったりガスだったり、それに関わるものとかについてちゃんと人っていうかその業者さんたちと話す必要も日本語でしないといけないので、それもちゃんと考えていただければいいかなと思います。So yeah, that's it. I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or if you have any feedback, please do let me know in the comment section below. And see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.